happening? What's happening? What's happening? Here again. Here again. Here again. It's definitely a few ideas. You know what? We're going to blast this off. We're going to blast this off this morning. I like to usually start these with a journal entry of some sort. Something I've written. This is a very. This definitely. These two things I'm about to read are very tied to the title. Internet influencers are escorts of conformity. Streamers are a more let me try again. Streamers are a more extreme form of cults, a more accepted version to serve the screen. Let's see if I anything else. I don't know. Anyway. Okay. Sorry. Sometimes I don't read what I write for days. Anyway. These lives are directed in exploring ideas. First of all, there's nothing too set in stone here. It's really just an adventure of ideas. Modern slavery, the loss of the erotic, and I forget what I put on the last. I don't know. It'll come. I wanted to first paint the picture of slavery in general. I feel like there's a common misconception of what slavery is. I think we imagine it throughout history as some very, like a head honcho controlling or dictating, usually a race, a minority, and forcing them to work under extreme conditions. Fun fact, the first slaves of the United States were actually women. But that's not really what I want to fucking talk about. I want to talk about modern slavery, what it would look like, or what it is, in my opinion. But first, we must kind of understand that there was a point in civilization where morals or spiritual religious beliefs eventually took more of a forefront of political divide, just social divide. And eventually, there was I wouldn't say more of a respect, but there was morals tied to the head honcho's kind of mind. More morals, more patterns of thought. And that only took place because the access was the access of information changed, and there began to be more of a spread out of common thought amongst individuals in civilization. Now, one could argue that's why slavery ended, was that morals became, too much to not look at, especially for just someone who has different color skins or is a different race or has different beliefs than you. So morals play a big part of, in my opinion, why slavery ended and why the language we used around slavery has changed, because slavery necessarily hasn't gone away. Let's just say that there's a there's a redistribution of words that took place in our history, that some things were just accepted and others were not. So there had to be a more systemized, formed way of understanding to kind of categorize and cater the herd or the population to believe in. Um, but one thing you should probably consider is that slavery in every civilization was very necessary for its success. In the moment, I think that slavery is not successful, is the moment in which the way I would describe it is that I can scroll on my Instagram feed, and so can Donald Trump, right? From that perspective, there were moments in time where there was no, the head honcho and the slave recognized that they were no different in their position, and they probably had some sort of understanding of this. There's probably some sort of a happening that really took shape in our history of slavery, slaves rising up, and the head honchos, whatever you want to fucking call them, the slave owners, kind of digressed, retreated. But that's not necessarily the case. I think more the case is people eventually became. I think people realized that slavery fuels society. You need workers to fuel things, right? So systems formed, and you had to hire people in a sense. Let me blow my nose. You had to hire people though for certain a wage or a certain wage or something, or a certain just being accepted in a way, like certain allowing access when you accept yourself within some sort of group or system. They kind of just give you these things of tools, or the beginning loot, if you will, the starter gun from a if you're thinking about video games or something. um what I find very interesting is how quickly our perception of slavery changed when there was a reward system attached to it, an added financial gain, that could be controlled and dictated by literally anyone who had the power or the willpower to create it or establish it. Now, if you fast forward to right now in our time, 2026, with all this modern technology and electronics, us slaves, the modern man, the woman working, living paycheck to paycheck, the poor, these are what I would call the lower forms of what slavery is. Obviously, there's more higher forms, and we'll get into that, but these lower forms of slavery now um, are completely dependent upon not a chain or a whip being hit on you if you act out of manner. It the whip, the chain reaction of the whip. How do I say this? The chain reaction of the whip from the slave's point of view would be, I'm going to get hit, but wouldn't it be better if I just watched other people get hit and just remained, right? I'm going to have to tie this together in a larger way. Slavery now is more or less an imprisonment of thought. And it kind of works. It kind of is built upon this foundation of entertainment, overstimulation, and an abundance of an abundance of information that's instantaneous. First of all, now when you begin to systemize your civilization into multiple multiple fractals, you begin to pattern recognize. There's pattern recognition of what works, what doesn't, what's happening, what's not happening. And I guess my sort of pattern recognition amongst this topic would be that slavery has not gone away. We've just redistributed the word to describe things. It's like if a metal can was sitting here on my desk. It might look like an empty trash can, an empty can that needs to go to the trash. But if the metal can was the only thing in the room, the only thing in the room with white around it, you might look at the metal can as a sort of piece of art, if you will. And in that same way, if you look at slavery as if you look at slavery in the context of when slavery began, you will not see the way slavery is working now. Does that make sense? So we must isolate our perspective of what is truly controlling us, as I would call us slaves in a way, slaves to money, slaves to the system, slaves to entities. Now, I'm going to bridge this towards what the second part of the title is, or it was. What kind of the loss of eroticism, the erotic behavior. And I guess one might argue this, but I think we can all recognize that there's a lot of sexual people and a lot of sexual gratification out there being just handed to us at all times. And seeing a naked body is not anything anymore. And in a different time, without cameras and systems, that was kind of at the forefront of beauty, being naked and vulnerable with someone. Now it's more or less involved in this capitalistic model of drugs, highs, sex, money, status, attention. There's like a worthiness of sex. Like, are you worthy of me? Um, or some people aren't worthy to even be around others with erotic tendencies. But there's also a really weird form of sex being a very transactional thing, or erotic behavior being a very transactional thing. And women have kind of, I don't know, fallen victim, taken advantage, you could say. They've taken advantage of this or fallen victim to it, where there's a society of men that realize that they don't have to be entertaining or interesting at all. They just have to fucking be like, name your price and I'll pay it. And then we'll have sex, right? That's so fucking odd. Obviously, it's existed for a long time, but people are not even paying for sex anymore. They're paying for images. They're paying for fucking images online. Okay, I'm getting passionate. That's okay. You're paying for images online when I don't know. It's weird. Anyway, there exists a sort of different perspective of being naked, of being erotic with someone. And I think it stems from what shapes us in this society nowadays. And it's our redistribution of concepts that have been flawed in the past or have, existed in the past at least. And we can, look through our history and kind of recognize these things. But what shapes all these, slavery and this sort of, these erotic tendencies is the screen, the instantaneous screen of information, entertainment, and consumption, the summoning machine, the global village, if you will. It's created a hidden environment that we're all in right now. We can't see it, but we're in a hidden environment. And usually those hidden environments are kind of thoughts at first, but they begin to take shape in weird ways. And the ways I think they're taking shape are through this sort of neglect of self wealth, self worth, like looking at yourself as some work of art, looking at yourself as some divine, chaotic being, looking at yourself as some with just intention. And I think in this momentum of society that I happen to be in, that we all happen to be in, there is I think as a child, there's a neglect of self, and there's an overabundance of accepting things as yourself. Let's sort of bridge this into Hmm. There's a few ways we can go with this because we got to paint the picture of what's happening first. We have to paint the picture. We have to start the dialogue. And I think what's also at the forefront of all these, ideas that I think we're all struggling with to wrap our minds around, what's at the forefront is, how do I say it? I think what's also at the forefront of our environments is the loss of access or the denial of access. I guess over the last year or two, maybe, it's been a renewal of rediscovering access within myself, like, or giving myself access to write. Not, I have multiple notebooks, but it's like giving myself access to paint or to read, keeping a book open, even if I can't, like, finish it right now, like, just leaving it here, being like, okay, yeah. I'll provide a scenario. Say an advertisement pops up. You can't skip. It's 3 minutes long. The advertisement pops up in your video or whatever. The easiest way to sort of operate around that would be, I think, for the average person nowadays, would be just, oh, an ad? Okay. Back to the screen. Back to the screen. And then they'll try to put it down when the video pops up again. But something I'm challenging myself with is there's a pause. Okay. Notebook. Notebook, write randomly. Draw. Oh, there's I have a little time in I'm going to the bathroom. I'm going to go take a shit. No phone. I'm going to bring a book. Even if it's a few pages, I'm going to bring a book. And this sort of denial of access amongst different mediums has been very rampant in its development, in its growth, and in its sort of existence of formalization and taking shape amongst everything and everyone. There has to be a reshaping of environments, so on some personal individual level, and that itself will create the ripple, the wave. And what really sucks is that there's this there's this idea that I see kind of happening right now. It's like a lot of young people who are kind of rediscovering their boredom. What are they going to do with their boredom? Not even boredom, but what are they going to do amongst this society? And it's sadly this is, you have to generalize first of all, but how do I say this? I think people nowadays who want to celebrate and who want to collaborate in community, they love the idea of it. But I think to truly put yourself in a position of dependency upon others is very hard nowadays. I think focus alone is lost. I don't think people can focus. I have a hard time focusing. There are ways to get out that, or to, I guess, fix that. And I think one of those ways is to enter multiple mediums at once. Give yourself access. But the access people have nowadays is this access of, they want to transcend their moment, their lives, their experience, their knowledge, their bodily feelings. And they go to these places where there's all that surface level stimulation. And that's all it is. That's all it is. They're not willing, there's no willingness to commit oneself to an act anymore. I think passive consumption is more common than passive creation. It's way easier to consume nowadays than it is to create. And what's also taking place is that the places we have access to this sort of expression human expression, dance, music, literature, conversation, whatever. Our access points are now shaping our expression more than our expression is shaping our access points. And in that way, we're imprisoned in some sort of idea that's being distributed on a mass scale to enhance our conformity of this thought of slavery. The ideal image of eroticism, erotic behavior. And it's sad because most people won't begin to assert themselves unless there's a transaction. I'm hoping this is making sense. I think it is. There was a video I saw online of just local fucking people, right? Of local people partying or celebrating or uh, whatnot. Performing. I'm seeing this video. And there was a lot of people there, which was interesting. But I'm seeing this video and I'm noticing that the rapper who's rapping is holding a stack of money. And he's in Indiana, first of all. He's not in like the what I would call the hot zones of electronics, basically like Texas and like fucking New York and California and shit. That we're in Indiana where the hot zone is smaller. Of who knows you and who knows what. I've never seen this person before, but he's rapping, holding his money. I will say, in my opinion, it was god awful. I like rap. What he was doing was not rapping. He was. I think this is what I'll get a little opinionated on because it has been a common thought. This motherfucker was not rapping. He was like stating, I got money, I got bitches. I got money, I got bitches, and then I'm gonna kill you if you even try to take it. You think you disrespecting me? Obviously, I don't know. It's more like I think rapping nowadays is more of that than telling a story. It's more or less just like asserting behavior, asserting dominance, because there's a lack of power, like the power process within us, I think has been denied in our civilization. The other sort of like underground happening is like hardcore, heavy death metal, black metal, heavy metal, where they're playing so fast, they're playing very angrily, and they're screaming. You can't even make out what the fuck they're saying, man. I don't see a difference in that sort of the mumble rap game of money, sex, and status any different from these sorts of hardcore scenes, of metal and whatnot. I don't see any different of. I don't see anything different happening. I just see it being distributed, and I guess differently. And I think this has to do with the loss of access, the loss of the access of information or words to be able to express themselves properly. Instead, you have this sort of behavior that is in like fight or flight mode of I have to let people know I'm here. I have to let people know I'm here. I got money. Okay. Well, some of these I guess what I'm getting at is due to this fast paced abundance of information, instantaneous gratification that surrounds us, shapes those sorts of things, shapes our music and whatnot. And it's sad to say, but I just think we've forgotten our ability to get past these surface level emotions on a local level. We've a loss of community on a local level. And I mean this in a very, I guess, in a very dramatic way, because obviously there's things that exist and there's communities. Like there wouldn't be a scene without a community. But the where each community stems from politically or socially or idealistically or ideologically is very different than to an actual community. This community that we find ourselves in or that is shaping us is more focused on transaction. All of it being transactional, all of it being sort of all of it being accepted. Yes, that's what it is. You have all this fucking stuff coming out, diverse people making diverse sounds, and it's all being accepted. Can we like everything? Can we enjoy it all? Can we not agree and still exist? Or is an agreement a fundamental necessity that has to exist? It's this weird thing. And a lot of these shows I've gone to or the people I've begun to speak with, there's a few that are unable to go past, or not a few, but a lot, majority, if not all, that are unable or unwilling to go past that sort of childlike mindset of everyone is accepted or I like everything. I think we can, I think any sane person in this world nowadays has that ability to be like, yeah, no, fuck that. And they're able to stand in that feeling. And we've lost it. We've lost the sort of, I guess we've lost the access to sort of state what state what we don't like. And all the mumbo jumbo, including this on the internet, is all mumbo jumbo. It's all words being fucking given out. I have no consequence of this. It's just fucking me and my words. There's no consequence. The only consequence is being seen, being heard, maybe attention. And then that creates its own narrative. I guess I guess if I'm just going extreme on this one, and a lot of my writings and current revelations have been about me going into a more extreme form of me and my expressing my ideas more. What I've learned from my psychedelic experiences, um, I guess what I've learned from them has been a few different things, but one being that perceptions of reality are inherited by people who are obviously born into a momentum. We're all born in momentums. But the perception of reality can be dictated, and you can never walk outside of it until you do, until you see it, until you experience it, until you hear something that like you're like, oh my God. And I think the sort of culture that's been handing us what it's been handing us has been existing in this manner of like everything's been done, all of it's been written down. People are doing it already. Why do I gotta do it? And that's just not the fucking truth. Because the slavery mindset of what I was talking about, everything to the majority it has to be transactional. Like some people don't have the capacity of sitting here for 36 fucking minutes to just listen to me yap who has no status, no, if you know me, it's because you know me on a local sort of life level, right? Like you never fucking have seen me in the billboards or anything. And that's one thing on social media now, I rarely see people just express themselves. It's all passive fucking viewers from my past. Or they have no post or no fucking willpower to say anything. And I find that to be so fucking boring. Like, say fucking something. Have an opinion. Express yourself, motherfucker. Like, what the fuck? What are you doing? And if your expression comes from your ability to shut up and listen, your ability to shut up and conform, ugh, we're not here. And that's what a lot of communities are made out of. The passive viewer. Or I've also I don't know if I've written that, but I've created. I don't know if it's me creating this, obviously not, but I've kind of just more. I wrote down a model of the three types of people in this world currently, and it would be sort of the follower, the initiator, and the creator, and that's what kind of builds up our communities. And I think we're all just being trained to be followers or initiators. And the creator, whatever that may mean to you, the creation or the creation has to come from the creator. And then the initiator has to initiate the creation. They have to bridge the gap between creation and follow the follower. And the follower looks up to both. The creator looks down towards his creation, the ripples of their effect. Now there's a fucking tool called AI, artificial intelligence, that can create for you. We're seeing the effects of that. The pseudo creator, aka the follower. This is when we're. This is, I guess, a thought. I don't even know how to like get at, but I mean, we're here now, so like, why not? As we move into the world of mind, more than anything, more than the physical world, and artificial intelligences can create for us on on a large mass scale. This itself creates a hidden environment that if you're an artist or a creator, you will have to operate around. And I think if you submit yourself to AI, fuck off. I will not lie, it has its usages. It's not like you can't not use it, but to use it as a version of you is crazy. It's insane. It's lazy. It's choosing convenience over imagination. I didn't write anything. I have not written down what I've said. There's no script. It's just me rambling. And I guess the sort of what needs to take place in this sort of digital perfection of the world is people who are just out there expressing themselves without a thought or without a rationality to it, by just doing it, living, listening to your song, singing your song, writing your words, drawing your drawings. And sadly, I think majority of those people have fell victim to the to the transactional age, because you had the transactional age of expression, where you people only had the incentive to create because they were either going to be seen, financial gain, or it would enhance their status. Now these people have to sort of consider artificial intelligence on top of all of those things. And I think we're only going to see more extreme forms of creators, initiators, and followers. The followers will probably probably take shape in a very uniformed way. The initiators will bank off the initiation processes of the follower to the creator, which is what I mean by, like, when you see a group of people in a uniform, I feel like you immediately look for the odd one out, or you look for the sort of leader. And I guess in a way, the creator will have to begin to lead the followers in order to remain powerful enough. No, I don't know if I want to use that word. I think in order to remain in their own power, that's what I want to say. I think it'll be distributed in a way where the creator has to take a more serious role of what they're fucking doing, instead of just following the crowd and going to these spaces where everything stays the same. It's no one, it's none of their creation. It's everyone else's creation that the creator has to enter. The creator must create their own space and attract those who want to enter. And in a way, the internet's doing that. There's pockets of time like this. This is me creating, attracting, um, and creating and attracting whoever. But this is all mumbo jumbo. The real work of anything begins in the present moment of reality. Outside the fucking screen, outside your walls, sometimes inside certain walls, but and we're already seeing the role of the initiator. really take shape, and that's the live streamer, the influencer, in its entirety. It's very interesting. 45-minute yap sesh. 45 minutes seems to be my like sweet zone of ideas. If you're here in the future, well, I hope I'm alive. I hope I'm thriving. I hope I'm still doing this in some way. um, and I hope you people find find your will, find the power, return to yourself, put on the fucking, put on your mask, put on the glasses, and go create without fear. Go create, go dance, carry on.